everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's on the Tube. Welcome back. If this is your 17th Rookie Season 4 episode review, and I'm very, very pleased to say that while we were away again on another rookie hiatus, we officially got the confirmation we have been renewed for the 5th season. That's right, that's the Rookie will be continuing in Season 5, coming out hopefully in the fall. I'm very excited. I screamed when I heard the news. You know, half a decade. It's crazy how much time passed. I still remember watching episode 1 of The Rookie live, and we're not even close to the end of season 4, but knowing that there is a 5th season on the horizon, plus a potential spinoff, is amazing news for us as fans of the Rookie Nation. I'm very excited. I'm very curious to see where the story will go in season 5. I was a bit scared if we were gonna get a 5th season because just of how everything's changing with network television is a very unique place right now with the advent of like how much more in demand streaming shows are, how much the competition is for attention nowadays. But I'm very happy that the Rookie is going to be continuing into a 5th season, so I'm very, very happy about that. So yes, we will be returning for every Rookie Season 5 episode review next year. So yeah, again, I'm very, very excited. I can't wait to see how the story continues and how this everything they've been doing so far has been great, and I can't wait to see if they're going to even top themselves even further in season 5. But we're still a ways away from season 5. Today, we're here to talk about another return episode for season 4. It's been 3 weeks again. It's been a very interesting 3 weeks away. I haven't been doing much What's on the Tube stuff. I haven't been doing much in general. Just mainly getting things in order for summer stuff, Collection Compass stuff, getting things planned out for the future. There's a lot happening right now. There will be a Slate of the Channel on a lot of things very soon. A lot of things I'll repeat again that I've said in this one. But anyway, us coming back to Rookie Season 4. Honestly, again, I wonder why my brain always thinks that this is, for me, this felt like a traditional filler episode in just the promotion, that it really didn't feel that big. But then when I saw the episode, I think this is probably one of the more standout episodes of season 4, because this episode, I think, made you question some things and made you think about life in a different perspective. And it's kind of like a pseudo spiritual sequel at some times to, I think, the best episode, one of the best episodes in the Rookie's history back in season 2, which we did cover. But I was really surprised in how much every subplot, every storyline really, I'm not gonna say it hit home to me. I didn't feel personally attached to any of them, but I just felt like emotionally connected to them, and I felt where they were going through, and it brings up a lot of moral conversation, and it brings up a lot of things. And you know, this was one of those, the moment when you see the Rookie logo, the intro pop in, and it's the black background, you know, like, okay, you're in for a serious episode. There isn't too many jokes, but it's still the same Rookie fashion where you still have those lighthearted jokes, you know, this to still keep the beats going, still keep things uplifting and such. And you know, again, this was I think another perfect balance of really great standout Rookie episode. And it was great for us to kind of once again slide back into this world after a few weeks away. It wasn't that big. I mean, the Oscars happened last week. Nothing too crazy happened about that last Sunday. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So anyway, let's go for the Butcher recap and talk about this week's episode of The Rookie. So we begin full cold open. Nolan shows up at a car crash scene. It's a woman. She's been impaled by like a really long metal pole. It's literally through her stomach. No offense, she's a goner. Even if there was a point she could survive, there's absolutely no way she was going to walk again. She's in total shock. No one's trying to like keep her going. And thankfully Bailey and the firefighter crew show up to kind of help. But even they notice like, yeah, we can try, but there's a good chance she's going to go. So I think it's best if you just, you know, do your usual Nolan charm and kind of ease her slowly and peacefully, which Nolan thankfully does. And again, like Nolan being the person he is, I wasn't really surprised that Nolan got very much emotionally attached as always, because it's a mother who is leaving without saying goodbye to her husband or her kid, and the fact that it never really registered in her head that I'm gonna go. She's just thinking about like when I get through this, like I'm going to hopefully not get in trouble with my husband. And it, I feel for Nolan, I really do, because like again the emotional person he is, having the life experience he's had, he feels really connected here, and there's nothing he could have done about it. You know, when she went, so there really wasn't much to do. Bailey asked him if she was an organ donor, which she was. So Nolan has to escort her to assure that the organs are properly transitioned from the person of the deceased to the new owners, properly dispersed throughout the United States as is allowed to. Honestly, there were moments where I felt like this was a Grey's Anatomy episode, and I'm like, oh damn, I forgot about Grey's Anatomy, and I have some catching up to do. I've been a little bit behind on that front because I've just been preoccupied with a lot of other stuff. Plus Thursdays are always Walker time, so you don't mess with that. Anyway, so meanwhile, the other subplots going down. A lot of things are happening in the hospital this week. A lot of things are happening in the hospital. Harper's there for a checkup because she knows a little bit of bleeding in her private area, so they're just going there to get some lab work, get that checked out. She brought over her baby daddy. I forgot the name again. I apologize. It's been a few weeks away. You can't really blame me for forgetting people's names. I apologize. So yeah, so they're there, and they're just kind of, you know, it's another one of those, like, I'm still waiting for the shoe to drop. Like, are we gonna get that big revelation where no, he's not the father, it's Harper's ex-husband? Because again, remember, the timing is just it's too close to call. It really is. And I still hold. I'm 90% certain they're gonna use that as like a subplot for in the latter half of the season. Well, the ending episodes of the season, we are in the latter half, but I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop. Chen's got a big day ahead of her. It turns out that they're finally putting Rosalind on charges for her association with with Chen's kidnapping back in season 2. So Chen, being obviously the prime witness to it, she has to give testimony to prove that Rosalind was involved in the matter. And I initially got scared, like, oh my god, we're gonna see Rosalind again. I'm like, oh no. Look, Rosalind as a villain is great. It's just like I always get scared when she comes on screen. Like, what big thing, what creepy thing is she gonna do? But no, she wasn't in this episode. I was like, thank God. We just saw her in flashbacks, and you know, which honestly, again, like she's I think one of the best and creepiest villains the Rookie's ever had in terms of as a show right now. Which I wouldn't be surprised if they decide to tap into her again in the future. But this being just like Lucy has to recount the events of that traumatic episode again, because just for the record, and this isn't even her going to court, this is just trial prep. So she needs to go and just rehearse a little bit, make sure she knows what she's exactly going to say, what questions that the defense is going to be preparing to kind of discriminate against Chen's words. And also Tamara decides to comfort her by making a brown sugar Pop-Tart with eggs in the middle. Now, to be fair, in elementary school, I don't know if anyone knows this. If you know, please let me know. Hit me up in the comments. But I remember as a kid, there was a breakfast option where I literally felt like it was like a Pop-Tart figure, but it tasted like egg. I don't remember what it was. I really can't. I've been trying to remember it for so many years. I could never crack it down. I could never like pinpoint the exact name of it. But if you know what I'm talking about, like that's kind of like where I'm seeing for this. But like brown sugar and cinnamon, I don't think that works together. I really don't think. I really don't think it does. Even Chen's like, it's interesting, but it's not bad. Which I'm like, no, no, it ain't. The other thing is that good news. Wesley is finally back on the bar. He's back to work. But of course, obviously, like you said before, well, two things is that one, he wants to do more pro bono work. He really wants to help out the people that are not able to afford legal services. And the other thing is that a lot of clients aren't willing to call him up anymore because, again, just being so associated to what he did with SPD villain dude from the beginning of the season, no one really wants to sign up for him right now. So there really isn't much he can do on that front. So he has no choice but to take more pro bono work, so he's kind of left in the wind there. Bradford, for some weird reason, is also escorting this father and daughter who are there for a heart transplant, which the person that passed away in no one's care, being her, she ironically had her heart having a specific blood type that this girl needs for the surgery. So, which is great news. So that she's next on the list. So she's the first to get the heart. So I don't know why Bradford's escorting them. They didn't really give a reason. Bradford's just there. He talks to Nolan for a side just to like kind of ease him down a little bit. Like, yeah, this sort of thing happens on the job. You know, even though you have no emotional connection to them, like you're gonna feel some sort of feeling about them, and it really does suck. I think the other thing, is there anything else that happened? Like, I think I got all the setup going. Sadly, Gray doesn't do much this week. He has one scene again. They're doing Gray 30 this season. Like, they really, really do. Like, we need to get more. We need like another full Gray episode. We need another one because that one with the Italian dude wasn't enough. Sorry, my throat is I've been talking a lot all day. Where was I? Where did we continue? Yeah. I think so. I think the next big thing is that everything's getting in order. You know, they're just talking with the doctor about just the procedure and just making sure that all the organ parts that survived the accident are getting sent over to the people that really need it, and that this little girl is going to be getting the heart, which is kind of like the big deal right now. But sadly, something happens with the system. Like lights are coming out in and out, and they look around and they're trying to check up on them. And turns out some guy hacked into the hospital's database and is saying like, "Listen, I'm in control of this hospital now. I want that heart that you're gonna give to that little girl. I want it for my wife. Otherwise, this entire hospital is gonna get shut down." And obviously, the circumstances are very extreme for this one, because this husband's wife also needs the heart transplant and also has a very specific blood type that only this heart can provide her. But they eventually do reveal that the reason why she wasn't first on the list was because of her previous conditions, her survivability of getting this heart isn't as great as what the girl would do. And it's also about a matter of timing the severity of the situation, which it all does suck. Like when you really think about it, it does suck. But the problem is that sadly, in this world, like, in this specific instant, like when you're put on a list to wait for a specific organ, it does suck. But that's literally the only way, because it's not every day where someone dies and is an organ donor. Like I think I'm labeled as an organ donor. I don't remember. I should really double check with my IDs when after this review is done. I really should, just in case. But it's not every day, and plus usually these are very specifically needed stuff that takes a while to get. It does. It's not as easy to think of. It really isn't. Meanwhile, Harper and her baby daddy are also in the hospital, but they're not really focusing on the police aspect of it. But one of the nurses asked them if they could take over taking care for a kid who's there for just a checkup. You know, he suffered a minor accident, so he got a little bit of a concussion, and they don't really know it's a concussion yet, but they're just leaving him in their room so that they can watch over him. But he's mostly on his cell phone playing around on video games. Meanwhile, I'm blissfully unaware of the entire situation. Chen and Tamar arrive in the legal offices of the DA, and Chen she lied a little bit. Even though that this is kind of severe, because like she's like it's just like when you survive a traumatic incident like she did, like it's just gonna come in random flashes of just the experience, and like that you're not fully over it as you thought you were. And she's like, you know, just thinking about them again, and like seeing those scenes again was a little discomforting, since you know we witnessed a lot during that one episode 2 years ago, which is a little crazy to think that episode was 2 years ago. It's crazy, right? It's really crazy. Or it could just be the fact that I'm getting old. So also Tamara's trying to get some water, and she sees this cute intern, and I'm just like, oh, of course. The good-looking intern that ironically has a lot of similar interests to Tamara. Why is the luck of this? So they're flirting for a bit. They're getting to know each other. But Tamara's not really in the 100% getting in the mood right now. You know, she's morely there for Chen. Her DA boyfriend, or assistant DA boyfriend, shows up. And it turns out the person that was supposed to prep her for the trial is on sick leave, so he's like, well, if you don't feel comfortable with me being there, we could just reschedule to when she does come back. But Lucy's like, no, you know what? We're professionals. We can do this. We can put aside our personal relationship and just handle the the task at hand, which they both agree upon. So they both head up into the room to go start rehearsing. Tamara is off flirting with the guy some more. It's obviously clear that like these two are just interested in each other. So like, yeah, why not, go off and like I'm just hearing like all this eco green talk and like going. It's like, I mean, look, when you find someone that's like you, it is a great feeling. But it's just I don't know how to say it. It's a little corny. Let's say that. Chen's doing for the rehearsal, but she's doing her best to get through it, but it still very much is hard for her to deal with because it's just, how do you handle that much emotional trauma, like being thrown back into you all at once? Even though she has said she went to therapy for, which I believe she did, but it's just a lot to take in, especially when you're with someone, you're telling someone that you actually do care about. So he smartly called, let's take a break, let's get you calmed down, let's get some coffee in you. So they do. Yeah, they catch it on Tamara and the intern just kind of flirting with each other. It's kind of cute, and even Chen's like, like, oh yeah, that's pretty cute. Like, he's a cute guy, that sort of thing. But sadly, ADA boyfriend does a really stupid ass mistake where I spilled tea on my pants, but it's not that hot, thankfully. What was that? Yeah. So he starts humming the song that Chen was humming during that episode, season 2, during the barrel. And Chen gets emotionally PTSD traumatized. Well, combination of both, let's say that. Because not only does he know about that because he witnessed the video, which obviously, yeah, he has to because it's evidence. He needs to witness all pieces of footage and see everything. But he didn't tell her up front that he already seen the video beforehand. He just assumed that this was just newfound information for him to hear. And Chen just needs a minute because, it's this association that really is about it. But thankfully they do talk about it later, and she's like, you know what, let me watch this video. This is going to be very helpful, me tackling this on seeing myself in this situation, but it's been like about a year removed from it, that she needs to witness this. What she does, she powers through, she sits down and she gets through it. Thankfully that does manage to thankfully this humming thing did not break up her and the DA and the ADA, so they're still good, and they're on the way out. Tamara's is ready to let's go cook something, let's go enjoy a dinner at home, and then the intern just suddenly catches up to them and say, hey, I'm also out of work, there's a vegan place nearby if you're interested in checking that out. Like a clear attempt to try and get Tamara on a pseudo date, which honestly, look, he seems like a nice dude. Look, come on. I mean, come on. He should be fine. So, I mean, I never say, don't judge anyone by their cover, but, I highly doubt it. A vegan's going to be a villain. So, I'm like, otherwise, I'm going to make so many vegan villain jokes. So, vegan villain. And that's actually sounding pretty familiar to me. So, so they go off on their kind of pseudo date, and Tamara and the ADA decide to head off to go to Chen's house to go eat some food and just relax and chill out. And honestly, Chen brings up a very interesting point about taking off your shoes in public places. And it's like, if it's not the beach or the park, you have no right to do it. And I'm like, absolutely yes. There's a story I want to tell. I don't think this is not the place to tell it, but there's a story, and I'm just like, okay, I'll give the abridged version. So I was in high school, and again, it's a high school, so it's normally you don't. I don't know how to say it. I really don't know how to say it. It's just, you don't take off your shoes. If you're wearing sandals, that's okay to extent. But normally, for me, it's I wouldn't feel comfortable you putting your bare feet on school property. It's just an unspoken rule. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. So this one person, they took off their entire shoe, the shoe itself, the sock, and started walking around the classroom in barefoot. Low key, they kind of smelled a little bit too. So I was like, I don't know this person that well to kind of, say anything about it, but I was really hoping someone would speak up, and no one did. It was kind of it was a very intriguing day of club that day. I'll just say that much. But that wraps up pretty well. A very solid, emotional, moving on growth moment for Chen. That was great to see. Meanwhile, back over the hospital, I'm just going through all the other plot before getting back to the big plot. Eventually, the parents for the kid that Harper's watching over shows up, and they're immediately like, "Okay, he's fine, he's great. Let's get the hell out of here." The doctor shows up, stops them, and says, "Wait, hold on. This kid has a concussion. We need to run tests and make sure that there is a that he's getting the right treatment." But they're saying like, "Oh, it's not in our belief. The medical system is not real," and that sort of example. I'm just getting some tea because I'm thirsty again. Continuing, but eventually, because Harper is just concerned for the child, and also being now she's pregnant again with her next child, she's a little bit more emotional on this front. So she tells the parents, "Listen, out of safety, I'm gonna file a bunch of paperwork on you. So legally, right now, the kid can only be left under doctor's approval, and until then, if you try to leave, that's actually a criminal offense." So the parents leave to the waiting room, but eventually they do leave. However, once Harper files in the paperwork to kind of get child services involved to make sure that the kid is receiving adequate care, Greg gives her the call. It's like, "Hey, listen, that paperwork you filed in, these two parents are not in our system, nor do they have a registered child with a birth certificate. So the kid is not technically theirs unless there's a big..." Yeah, but no, he was kidnapped. He was kidnapped when he was 3 years old, and he's been missing ever since, and now they found him. So now they're like, "Well, where's the person? Where are these parents?" So Gray goes in to go get them, and yeah, so when the kid was 3 years old, he got stolen from somewhere, and it sucks for him right now, because it does really suck, because like when you have that epiphany moment, especially when you're like still growing up, that the life you had isn't entirely like, it's different if you figure it out when you're older, because like you already grew up, you already had your experience, you're already an adult. Like it really won't do anything besides you just getting to know them and realizing what you missed out on. But in the sense of like, you're still a kid, like for a kid, like, no, they're my parents. I remember them being my parents, which I'm like, technically, yes, they did care for you. Hopefully they did raise you adequately, hopefully, but it doesn't make them your legal parent. The way they got you was not fair. Like there's a pair of parents that were raising you since you were a baby, and they had you taken away. It's not something that it's not something that really is an easy excuse around. It isn't, and he's even scared. Like, I don't know these parents. Like, what if I don't like them? It's like it sucks. It really does suck. But that's just the sad reality of this situation, and then all you can do is just hope for the best, and hopefully you'll accustom fine. And also, there's a lot of catching up to do. So you see where that goes there, but it really does suck for people in that situation, for kids in that situation. It really does. Then moving him back into like the big plot point. So the guy's put under arrest, but he can't. But he's not leaving. He can't leave the hospital because he still has access and the code to the system. And Bradford's grilling him out, chewing him out by like, there's a lot of people in this hospital, they could die, and the guy's like, "I don't care about my wife, man. She needs to live. She's my whole world. I don't care about anyone else besides my wife." And no one is trying to appease the wife to try and talk her husband out of it. But even though she didn't know what he did, she's still like, "I don't want to die. Like, if there's a chance this heart can like give me my life back, I'm gonna take it, regardless of anyone else." And that brings up another point of conversation of like, I think it just depends on the person when it comes to, do you prefer your life or another person's life over yours? And for me personally, I mainly side with the reasoning of, well, if I could help someone out, I would. I really would. That's just my character. That's just my personality. I would help as many people as I can, regardless if it does negatively affect me. And sadly, one of those moments with this being the case is like, well, yeah, I mean, if there was a kid that could still have a longer life and still have potential, I'm like, give it to them. Like, maybe hopefully down the line, there's still hope for me, but like, if there's a chance that this kid can make it, then give it to them. Like, they have a better chance. Like, you can't give up the heart if you were in that position. You can. Most people like to think selfishly, because again, like, you got to think of yourself too. That's another valid point. Well, think for yourself. Don't think of others. But it's just finding that right balance. And in this moment, like, she's really thinking of, well, no, like, I want to live for myself and for my husband. So whatever is going to be done, I want that heart. So they kind of reach a standstill. Lopez goes to talk to the kid and her dad, who were supposed to receive the heart originally. And for them, obviously, like once they get filled in on like just the basics of the situation, the dad's like, absolutely not. You can't give this heart to him because we were next. Like on the list, we are next. And and then of course they bring up the legal ramifications. Like we could sue. Like we could sue if like if the hospital gives the heart to this guy and his wife. And she's like, yeah, you could sue. You just need a really good lawyer. And he's like, oh, I can't afford that. Like literally all my savings went to the kid, which also kind of also is another thing because like I've been dealing with some insurance stuff right now currently with my with people in my family, and yeah, it is a piece of shit the fact that these sort of things, while they're not planned, unless you have money or you're willing to like sacrifice a lot, you really can't afford these freaking procedures. And hope to God that never happened. But he literally says like, I cannot afford legal service. Like I literally am broke. And she's like, well, I got a really annoying pro bono husband of a lawyer that could help you out. So Wesley gets called in to represent them. So once everyone kind of reaches like a mutual standstill right now, they regroup with the head of the hospital, the chief, to kind of discuss, well, what do we do now? Like we obviously can't give in to his demands. But of course, obviously we need the system to be active. And right now the IT department and like everyone, the cybercrime unit, are trying their best to knock out these hackers, but it's not really working that well. Nothing's working as planned. And then once again, Wesley kind of shows up and like drives on like, yeah, you cannot give this heart to this guy and his wife because honestly, it's against like what the list entitles and what legally is allowed. And as soon as she was about to agree, once again, like, yes, you're right. We're not giving the heart to them. We're going to give it to the girl as soon as we figure this out. Even the doctor's like, I don't care. Like, this is just an insurance listing. Like, my judgment is I'm just going to put in the heart to whoever is you're putting on my table. That's really about it. You guys go figure it out. Which, honestly, it's kind of the most badass move I've ever seen a doctor do. And I've watched 18 seasons of Grey's Anatomy. So let that say anything about it. Or maybe I just don't remember Grey's Anatomy that much. I don't know. But before they can like reconfirm that, another part of the hospital goes down. More sections are being turned off. Sadly, one of the critical care patients goes into, I believe, cardiac arrest and sadly passes away. And yeah, the situation got worse because like this guy who literally took over the hospital has now resulted in one man's death. And obviously no one's happy about him, but the hospital's like, it really does suck, but we can't afford any more lives, so we're going to give his wife the heart because we need the hospital back in order. So they have no choice but to do so. So the guy wins, and he does like the stupid cock and smug of like, yes, I won, thank you. But it is your fault for not giving me these demands sooner, which I'm like, dude. Like, I know, like, your wife's life in your head is more important, but, like, someone else thinks that exact same way about that guy. So please, you should really shut your mouth. So he gives the hospital somewhat partial control back over the system, but not fully everything. He'll unlock everything once the surgery is complete and the heart is in. So they move that along, but they did let him know like, yeah, that guy is you're still getting charged for the murder of that guy. Like you're still responsible for that. Like you're not getting away with that. So they wheel over the wife to surgery, but the dad shows up trying to kill her because he thinks that, oh, if she dies, then there is no choice. Like, you have to give the heart to my daughter, which it's not a bad strategy. It's not an emotionally resolving one, but it's not a bad strategy in my opinion. So, but they apprehend them, they pull them away, and they're about to proceed over with the surgery for the wife, but Nolan, trying to appease to the wife one more time, shows up with a FaceTime call with the girl, and thankfully her words were enough to kind of power through to the wife and said, I don't want the heart, give it to her, I'm not taking the surgery. And the husband's like, no, what are you doing? Like, don't listen to them. Like, we're so close. This is it. This is the beginning of our happily ever after. And she's like, no, it's not fair to her. She's already lived a life. This girl hasn't. Let her live a life too, because she's still had 30 years plus. The wife's had 30 years plus of living. Now it's this girl's turn. And then no one turns his attention over to the guy to try and talk him into like giving the hospital back full control. He limits and he tries to, but it turns out his fellow partners locked him out of trying to save the hospital system, and is only going to let them come back to full power once they get paid $5 million, which I'm like, Jesus Christ, these people. The hospital doesn't have that kind of money lying around, so if they can't get the money, and then also if they don't have control of the system, everyone in this hospital is going to die. They're trying their best to try and keep everything afloat, but it's really not looking great as well. Nolan and Bradford try one more time to appease to the guy to try and get any sort of information to track down these goons. Thankfully, the power of Nolan's talking abilities does work, and they manage to trace the text messages to a house, but it's very clean, very empty. But they find a very poorly placed shrub hiding for all these extended computer wires, and they lead out to like a random shed in like the middle of nowhere next to the house, and yeah, it's two people just hacking away. And the way Bradford said, listen, one of them's gonna get like a reduced sentence if you turn off the thing right now, and the other one's going to jail for 2 decades. And the woman's like, I'll take it. I'll take the deal. I'll take the deal. And she's like, in the way, it's like, it's the best. It literally is the best reaction I've ever seen in TV. It's like, I'll take the big deal. Fuck this other woman. I want to go to jail for a few months. I want to still live. And it's just like, that was fine. That was actually great. Everything's kind of resolved. Pish posh. The hospital's back under control. Every major couple's kind of like romantically making up. Bailey and Nolan are ready to go have sex, and do some romantic bath time. But Nolan says in bed, look, listen, you sweaty? You gonna take a shower and then we can take that bath. And I love Nolan so much. I really, really do. It's episodes like these, like you can still have an emotionally resounding episode, yet still have Nolan cracking a joke then and there or breaking the mood. It's great. I love to see it. And that wraps up this week's episode of The Rookie. So yeah, that was, for me, great. Another great episode for The Rookie. I think one of the best of the season so far. Shows how balanced the show can be when it comes to presenting serious topics and serious questions, as well as keeping the same mood and feel as a traditional Rookie episode. They've done it once again. This acting also as a spiritual sequel, epilogue to Chen's traumatic moments back in season 2 was great to see as well. It does help them, fully, like, they haven't forgotten, that they're still remembering, and that they're able to like keep moving the character forward toward potential happiness, and moving on and accepting what has happened in her life previously. And the whole hospital dilemma it just brought up some great moral questions, and I really liked it as well. Again, not like in the less of grade this season. I really am not, but you get what you get. You know what I mean? You get what you get. So for me, I'm going to give this episode 2 thumbs up. Really, really enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below what did you think of this week's episode of The Rookie. I'd love to talk to you about it in the comments down below. So let's go talk. But I think that's going to do it for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's the Two from ActionX, reviewing every episode in the 4th season of The Rookie. If you want to know what we're doing normally on What's the Two besides our Rookie episode reviews, we're currently doing Walker episode reviews each and every week after a brand new episode on the CW. So go check them out as well. We also do quick impressions, first impressions, seasonal reviews, so go check them out as well. But if you don't care about The Rookie, you're in luck. We'll be back next week with another brand new episode, so I'll see you then. But again, this has been What's the Two. Please subscribe to us on youtube.com/ActionXvideos. Ring that bell for notification when our next episode reviews live, which is normally each and every Monday mornings. Please also like, favorite, share this review if you want to. Please also follow us on social media to stay up to date with any sort of updates we may have for the channel. Please also ring that bell for notification when our next episode review is live. But until then, until we see each other again next week, for all you members of the Rookie Nation, I'll see you then. Until then, stay safe out there, be good to each other. Congrats on season 5. We have another year to spend with each other, but until then, peace out.